Shalom, brothers and sisters. Peace to the fam. Once again, Shabar Judah Israel with another lesson concerning Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. This lesson right here is going to be concerning to biblical prophecy. So we're going to start off in Revelation 6. Before we get into it, double honors to the elders. Salutations to the brothers, the Achaim, preaching and teaching the truth in and out of season, week in and week out. That's holding it down on the highways and the hedges, compelling the lost sheep, which are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which makes up the 12 tribes of Israel according to bloodline heritage, according to biblical prophecies. And last but not least, we give all praises and glorification and due honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and we are actually still in the midst of the Day of Atonement. So we're gonna get in with the lesson. We're gonna break down the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. That would be in Revelation 6th chapter. Revelation, the 6th chapter. We are going to begin with verse 1 on the behalf of the seals. We're going to break down Revelation chapter 6, only dealing with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. We're not going to break down the whole entire chapter of Revelation 6, but however, only the 4 horsemen dealing with the apocalypse. The apocalyptic times. So grab your pens, your paper, whatever that's necessary for you to take notes, and we are now going to begin. Revelation 6 verse 1. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, Come and see. Revelation 6:1 speaks of the Lamb, which opened the seals. The Lamb is Yahweh Shai, the Son of the living God, who they call today ignorantly Jesus Christ. That's Yahweh Shai. The Lamb which opened the seals. And I heard as it were the noise of thunder. The thunder, brothers and sisters, is the sound of the Most High's voice. That's the thunder. One of the 4 beasts. The 4 beasts are the 4 angels. These are angels saying, Come and see. Revelation 6:2. I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Let's break down verse 2 of Revelation chapter 6. The white horse. That white horse. This is the first horse of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So we're going to go over the first horse, which is the white horse. It says, he that sat on him had a bow. Now, who is this that sat on the white horse? The one that sat on your white horse is Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, the black Messiah, who they ignorantly once again call Jesus Christ. That's him that sat on the white horse. And had a bow. And a crown was given to him. Now, why did it say a crown was given to him? That means the crown is in reference to the heathens' dominion, the heathens' power structure and rulership in the earth. Their crowns will be given over to Jesus the Christ, who we better yet know as Yahweh Shai. That's why I say a crown was given to him. Because Christ, the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, is going to take all these heathenistic power structures and dominions in the earth. I'm going to show you that. Let's head over for a precept. Let's head over to Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 of Revelation, which speaks of the second coming of Yahushua, who they call Jesus Christ. It speaks of the second coming of Christ in his glory. Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. Didn't it say the same thing in Revelation chapter 6? So here's the precept, Revelation 19:11. And I saw heaven open up, a white horse. Now this is not a literal horse. This white horse in Revelation 19:11 is what you would call a spacecraft, or some may say a UFO. That's what the so-called white man, being the devil he is, that's what he have been brainwashing us to believe. He puts out these sci-fi channels and things in that nature, and he basically want to persuade blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans into getting them to believe that a white horse, which the Bible speaks of, right? He want us to believe that aliens is inside of the UFOs, when we know that the UFOs, according to the Bible, we know them as IFOs, are actually chariots of the Most High. So this white horse in Revelation 19:11 is a chariot. Psalms 104 verse 3, I believe, says that the Most High maketh the clouds his chariots. So when John the Revelator saw this vision, he looked up, he seen basically a white chariot in the sky, what you would call a modern day UFO. It was dazzling, it was very bright and white, and he just referred it to a white horse. So Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open up, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon it was called Faithful and True. Now who sat upon the white horse? Yahushua, man, who the world knows as Jesus Christ. He sat upon it, that was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he does judge, and he makes war, man. Because Yahushua coming back for war. He's in his second coming. He's coming back for war, man. He's going to shut down this wickedness in the earth. And if you're not right, you're getting slaughtered, man. Whether you belly down or whether you belly up, you're getting slaughtered. Revelation 19:12. His eyes were as a flame of fire. Because it tells you that in Revelation chapter 1 verses 14 and 15, when it gives the appearance of Christ, it tells you that his eyes was as a flame of fire, man. And on his head were many crowns. That's what we want to get to, that part right there. On his head, why was there many crowns? Because Yahushua has taken all the power and the rulership of the nations of the earth, man, that's ruling. Like the so-called white man government going down, Chinese government going down, right? The African government going down, the East Indians, the Arabs government going down. The Most High is going to basically take all the power and the rulership of these heathen nations in the earth, man. And that's referred to him having many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. So now let's go back to the previous chapter, Revelation 6, dealing with the white horse and his rider. So we're back in Revelation 6:2, and we're dealing with the white horse and his rider. So now you should understand, by us using that precept in Revelation 19 chapter, verses 11 and verse 12 of Revelation 19, you should understand Revelation 6:2 now. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. He that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And that crown is dealing with Revelation 19:12, when it says that he had on his head many crowns. How the Most High would take all the power and rulership of the heathen nations in the earth that's ruling right now. Revelation 6:2. And a crown was given unto him. He had went forth conquering and to conquer. And what does that mean? That Yahushua, he went forth conquering and to conquer. Simply what that means is that this truth, man, this truth that's breaking down every stronghold or philosophies, falsehood, and the seed in the earth. That's what that means. He went out to conquer. That's what simply it means, teaching the word, man. And the true foundation, which is this word that's breaking down all these strongholds that's in the earth, such as these different denominations, religions. They can't stand against this true word. They can't stand against the true word that's going forth in the earth. So that's what he went out conquering to conquer. That's what that means. Right? We'll give you Matthew 24:14 as a precept. Matthew 24:14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. See, so that's Yahweh going out to conquer, man, pursuant to Revelation 6:2. Because it started basically with Yahweh, man. He was the ultimate example, perfect example. He shined the light on the law, man. When Yahweh walked the earth, he taught others around him how to basically how to really, man, get down and apply this light and apply these laws, statutes, and commandments to their lives. So Yahweh started teaching the word. He raised up disciples to teach the word, and the disciples made more disciples. And now to the point where this truth right here is overflooding the earth, man. This gospel that's been preached in all the world. So that's in reference to Revelation 6:2, when it says that the rider, which was Yahweh that sat on the horse, right, with the bow, he was given a crown. He had a crown that was given to him. He went forth conquering and to conquer. All right. This gospel. Nobody can shut this truth down. That's what it's talking about. Give you another precept. Let's take a look at Matthew 16 verse 17. This is Matthew 16:17. And Yahweh, who they called Jesus, answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Barjona. Now that's Peter. Peter being one of the 12 apostles. For flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. Because he asked Peter a question. He said, Peter, who do men say I am? Peter said that thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Matthew 6:18. And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter. Because Peter goes back to the Greek. And Peter in Greek means Petros, which means rock. So he said that thou art Peter, and upon this rock, basically this solid foundation, this truth. And that's why my ministry is called Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. Because we bringing forth the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And like Yahweh stated in Matthew 16:18, he said that thou art Peter, the rock, basically, and upon this rock I would build my church. Because he put Peter in as the elite of the church, so to speak. He put Peter as the head of the church, and he said, upon this rock will I build my church, right? He says, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. The gates of hell is basically referred to like anything that is in opposition to this truth. The gates of hell, there's many philosophies, falsehood, and deceits out here. They are known as what you would call the gates of hell. Anything that basically tries to shut this truth down, things in that nature, parables. Well, it's a lot, not parables. That's something else. I was thinking about something else. But anything that try to shut this truth down, like you can say wicked parables. Okay, you can say wicked parables. But primarily false prophets, false doctrines, dogma, philosophies. You have various religions, diverse denominations, anything that's bringing you into captivity, trying to block this truth. That is known as gates of hell. Like Christianity is gates of hell, Islam gates of hell, Hinduism gates of hell, Buddhism, Taoism, and so forth. Catholicism, all those are known as gates of hell that shall not prevail against this truth, right? So that's why in Revelation 6:2, he went forth conquering and to conquer. Yahweh started this truth, this solid foundation, and taught his disciples, which made many disciples in the earth. And to the point now, you got blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that's pushing this truth week in and week out, in season and out of season. That's how he went forth conquering and to conquer. You understand? One more precept on this and we'll move to Revelation 6 and 3. Luke 24 and 47. And that repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. See? So repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. So this thing began at that Jerusalem, man, you know. And that's on the behalf of Yahushua going out, pursuing Revelation 6 and 2, going forth, conquering and to conquer. Let's move on with Revelation 6 and 3. Remember, this is dealing with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So now we are in Revelation 6 and 3. Revelation 6 and 3. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast. Now the second beast, that's an angel. Say, come and see. Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now, let's go over Revelation 6 and 4. There went out another horse that was red. Now, what is this red horse? What can possibly be this red horse? That the power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace of the earth. All right, so we're talking about the red horse, people. We have gone over the white horse, which is on your far left. Which is on the far left. We went over the white horse with the rider and the bow. They have some type of knight figure here on the white horse with the bow, but we know that the rider upon the white horse is Yahushua. We went over that. Now we're actually on the red horse. As you can see, this guy with this horn helmet with a sword in his hand. Now, who can that guy be? The red horse. Who can that be? Well, say no more. This is Genesis 25. And let's begin with 23. And the Lord Yahweh said unto her. Now he's speaking to Rebekah, the wife of Isaac. Okay. 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder shall serve the younger. Genesis 25 and 24. And when her days, which was Rebekah, when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, after the total of her 9.5 months, when it was the time for her to bring forth her children, behold, there were twins in her womb. These were not identical twins, they were fraternal twins, right? Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called this name S.F.I.A, which is Esau in the Hebrew, which means wasted away is he. Now, why did he come out red? Because Esau had very little what you would call melanocytes within his flesh. He had very little pigment within his flesh. Melanocytes. The more melanocytes you have, the darker you are. The more melanin, the more darker. Esau did not have sufficient amount of melanin, therefore he was wasted away. That's what S.F.I.A means in the Hebrew, or Aisha. It means wasted away is he. Not that Esau, as of a person, was wasted away. His pigmentation was wasted away, and therefore he came out what color? Pursuing Genesis 25:25, red. Okay. So in Revelation chapter 6, verse 4, when it speaks about another horse that was red, power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. This is Esau. That's Esau that was given power to take peace from the earth. That was Esau that should go out and kill with the sword, pursuing Revelation 6 in verse 4. That red horse. Okay? The red horse. The red horse. This is the red horse. The Edomites. The Edomites. The Idumeans. Children of Esau. When Rebekah gave birth to her children, this is what you see. Esau came out on the far left, as you can see, and Jacob came out on the far right. Okay, Esau and Jacob, two different pigmentations. Jacob became the progenitor, which is the forefather of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, while Esau became the progenitor of the modern day, what you would call white people, Caucasian people, or most of them call themselves Europeans. So this is biblical prophecy, man. And I'm just letting you know, in Genesis 25:25, Esau came out red, and that's in perfect connections to Revelation 6 and verse 4, pursuing this red horse. Esau and Jacob. So dealing with the four horsemen of the apocalypse, this image should be becoming mighty familiar to you right now. This image should be basically clearing up to you right now. So let's get back on the red horse. Back into Revelation 6 and 4, there went out another horse that was red. We know who that is. Esau being the progenitor of the modern day white people, which are the Edomites. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now this is all biblical prophecy, because it was told that Esau shall live by the sword all the days of his life. And I'm going to show you this pursuing the Revelation 6 and 4. It says at the end of Revelation 6 verse 4, it says, there was given unto him a great sword. So let me show you the cross reference to that. Let me show you the precept. Genesis 27:38. Esau said unto his father. Now Esau's father was known as Isaac. So Isaac was the father of Esau being the oldest child and Jacob being the youngest child. Isaac had two boys, two fraternal twins, which was Esau and Jacob. And Esau said to his father, Isaac, hast thou but one blessing, O my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Now why did he do that? Because Esau sold his birthright to Jacob, his younger brother, for one morsel of meat. He gave his birthright up, and then Jacob received the blessing as well. All right, because it was told to Esau and Jacob's mother that two nations was in her womb, pursuing the Genesis 25th chapter, and that the elder shall serve the younger. The elder being Esau, and Jacob being the youngest. The Most High told Rebekah before these children was even born that the oldest child shall serve the younger. So that's why Rebekah did what she did. A lot of people think that Jacob was some trickster. A lot of people think that Jacob was a subtle man, a mischievous man, but he wasn't. You know, that's why Rebekah told Jacob to do what he did, as when he put on animal fur to deceive his father and getting his father to believe that he was Esau, because Isaac, in time to come, Isaac became, his eyesight was stricken, and he became like, his sin became dull, his vision became blurred, and he couldn't really make out what was going on. So Jacob put on some animal fur, told his father that Esau, and eventually end up his father Isaac ends up blessing him instead of Esau. This was all done according to what the Most High God told Rebekah on the behalf of the eldest child serving the younger. So anyways, that's why Esau, pursuing Genesis 27:38, lifted up his voice and wept, because he gave his birthright up for one morsel of meat, and Jacob received the blessing as well. Genesis 27:39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Now, did it not say in Revelation 6 and verse 4 that this red horse, that power was given to him that sat thereon? That power that was given to him that sat thereon in Revelation 6 and 4 of that red horse to take peace from the earth. Now, what was that power given to him that sat on the red horse in Revelation 6 and 4? Genesis 27 and 39. That power is Esau's dwelling being the fatness of the earth. Meaning that Esau, in time to come, Esau would gain the best portions of the earth. Esau would subdue many nations and gain different regions, lands, territories, possess many areas in the earth, man. Meaning that this so-called white man, Esau, that he would basically dwell in the best places of the earth. That's the fatness of the earth. When you take the earth over, man. That's why the white man is so successful in raping, robbing, murdering, killing, possessing other nations' lands and things like that, because he was given his power. He was given the fatness of the earth. It says in the dew of heaven from above, meaning that early in the morning, if you would look upon the ground, the dew covers many regions like dew. That meaning that Esau would cover many regions in the earth, man, and he would take them over with his democracy and so forth. You know, building embassies, army bases on other nations' land, telling them where they can fly their own damn plane at. You know what I'm saying? Like the so-called white man conquered the Native Americans, stole their land, built this damn government on the top of it. Also, you had the white man, which were the Romans, that conquered Jerusalem, man. That's why we so-called Negroes, being the true Jews, are not in our homeland, because the white man, the Romans, conquered Jerusalem in 70 A.D., tore it down, burnt it up, and then many years later moved some fake ass Jews in our land, claiming to be us, which are the Khazars. So yeah, Esau was given the fatness of the earth and the dew of above from heaven. That's going to Revelation 6 and 4, right? That red horse and the rider that was on it, that sat on it to take peace, that was first and foremost, that was given power. Now, why would it say in Revelation 6 and 4, dealing with the red horse, why would it say that power was given to him that sat there on to take peace from the earth? Then it tells you also in Revelation 6 and 4, on the behalf of this red horse and his rider, that there was given unto him a great sword. Well, here it is, Genesis 27 and 40. This is what was told to Esau by his father Isaac. And by the sword shall thou live. So Esau would live by the what? By the sword. Back in the ancient world, literal sword. Now, in today's time, his sword is the modern day gun. So Genesis 27:40, and by the sword shall thou live, and shall serve thy brother. So this so-called white man will live by the sword, meaning that this so-called white man was blessed to kill, man. That's why in Romans the 9th chapter, the Most High likens Esau to the vessels of wrath, man. Because the Most High uses Esau, he uses the so-called white man as the vessels of wrath, man. So Esau was blessed with a murderous spirit, man. He was blessed to kill and conquer in the earth, man. And that's why Genesis 27:40 says, by the sword shall Esau live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Esau revolted against Jake, man, and subdued Jake, and took blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans into hardcore bondage and slavery, man. So Revelation 6 and 4. There went out another horse that was red, the Edomites, so-called white man, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Now we're going to show you, because we're going to deal with a historical timeline with Revelation 6 and 4. Power was given to this so-called white man to do what? To take peace of the earth. Now, when did the so-called white man first receive his power from the Most High? Because the Most High set this damn devil up to slaughter, rape, rob, and murder, and steal lands and whatnot. When was power first given to the so-called white man? We're going to show you. So power was given to this so-called white man, which is the red horse and its rider. When was the power given? Let's go back in time and do some historical research concerning the scriptures. So now we're heading over to the King James Apocrypha. The Apocrypha 14 books, which were extracted from the King James 1611 edition in the early 18th century. Some say the mid 18th century. The apocryphal books. The apocrypha means hidden books. Why? Because these books was extracted from the Bible, and they tried to hide the fact that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans fit the prophecies of these books. That's why they took the books out. These are known as the apocryphal books. They was once part of the 1611 King James Bible. It was taken out by the Roman Catholic Protestants. They protested to have these books removed. And one of these books that we're going in to show you, pursuing Revelation chapter 6, verse 4, on the behalf of the red horse, which is the so-called white man, when was power given to him by the Most High? Because these white people wasn't always on top and ruling. So we're going to show you when was power given to these white people upon the earth. Who was the first Edomite king to reign with power and glory in the earth? Now we're going into First Maccabees. First Maccabees. This deals with the history of the Grecian Empire. Now we know that Israel became subjugated under the Grecian Empire. They became slaves under the Grecian Empire. So you had, for the Greeks ruled, you had the Medo-Persian Empire under King Cyrus and Darius, and then the Greeks defeated the Persians, and this makes the book of First Maccabees and also Second Maccabees primarily deals with the Grecian captivity. All right, so we're gonna show you when the so-called white man first received his power structure in the earth. This is First Maccabees chapter 1, right? And we're going to read it. And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian. So we're dealing with Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian. Okay, Alexander was a Grecian who came out of the land of Chittim and had Smith, king of the Persians and Medes. So this is the history behind the Grecians defeating the Medo-Persian Empire, right? It says that he reigned in his stead. Alexander reigned in the stead of Darius, king of Persians and of the Medes, right? He reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So who was the first so-called white man to receive power structure in the earth? It was Alexander the Greek, man. Many people know him as Alexander the Great. We don't call him Alexander the Great. Why? Because there was nothing great about him. There was nothing great about him. So you can see the first Edomite king to be set up with power and glory in the earth started with Alexander, man, the son of Philip, the Macedonian. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 2. Let's see what Alexander did. And made many wars and won many strongholds. See, he made many wars and won many strongholds because the Most High was with Alexander. Okay, the Most High is fair now. He gives every heathenish nation, every heathen Gentile nation, he gives them a time to rule in the earth and a time to be brought down. So this is when the so-called white man started rising above all right here. And it made many wars and won many strongholds, slew the kings of the earth. Okay, he slew melanated kings because these kings of the earth was melanated kings, black men, right? Slew the kings of the earth, went throughout to the ends of the earth. This man went throughout to the ends of the earth with great power and glory, man, and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him. See? And that's going back to Revelation 6 and 4, man. The red horse and the rider that sat upon it was given power, man, to take peace from the earth, man. So this began with Alexander. He was the one that set up the first Edom kingdom to be set up in power. White man didn't have no power structure before the Grecian Empire. Before the Greeks ruled, you had the Persians going back to who? You had the Persians going back to the Babylonians, going back to the Assyrians, and going back to the Egyptians. So the white man didn't have no goddamn rulership and power in the earth until the Grecian reign, man. And the first king to rule over Greece was Alexander. Let's see how long he ruled over Greece. All right. So, 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 3. He went throughout the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him, meaning that these other nations paid taxes to Alexander and his men. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 5. And after these things he felt sick, and he perceived that he should die, because Alexander basically died of syphilis, because he was having sexual relations with his own horse. Okay, he was popping his own horse, man. That's bestiality. So there was nothing great about this Edomite devil, man, so-called white man Alexander. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So the Grecian reign is the beginning of the white man's kingdom. So he parted his kingdom after he died, Alexander, among his 4 generals, which were Lucius, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Lysimachus. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. So Alexander reigned 12 years and died, man. Alexander reigned 12 years over Greece and he died, man. So you can see for yourselves in Revelation 6 verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red. That's when the so-called white man began his power structure in the earth, man. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Now, who was power given to? Who was the first so-called white man power and rulership and dominion was given to? Alexander the Greek, man. And it started with Alexander down to his 4 generals, and then later on you had Antiochus IV Epiphanes, and then later on down the line, here come the Romans, until now the revived Roman Empire, which is America. So that's when the white man received his power. He's that damn red horse. Right? And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword, as you can see. So this is Job, the book of Job, chapter 9. Job 9 and verse 24. As you can see, Job 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The wicked being the so-called white man. We're going to show you that. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. That's on the behalf of Revelation 6 verse 4. That red horse that was given power in the earth to take peace from the earth and to kill many with this great ass sword. Right? So Job 9:24. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth was given to the hands of the white man. We know he's the so-called white man, because did we not go over in Genesis the 27th chapter? Did we not go over verses 38 to verse 40 in Genesis 27? And it said that Isaac told Esau that he shall gain the fatness of the earth. So the earth was given to the hands of the wicked, and that's Esau. He covered the faces of the judges. The number one judge is Yahweh, the heavenly Father. The second in command is Yahushua, his son. Now, was not Yahushua's face covered? Because the so-called white man fails, even to this day, to acknowledge the true visage of Christ. He fails to acknowledge the true image of Christ. He won't tell you that Christ is a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah, and the original ancient Jews were black and still black to this day. If you're a so-called Negro, you are the true Jews. But he's not going to let you know that. He covered the ancient Jews' faces up by making them pale skinned, by making them white with his Renaissance art, with his form of iconoclasm that he set up. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and many other wicked ass Renaissance artists that covered the faces of the judges during the Renaissance period, the period of rebirth, because they had to rebirth everything because the white man was on the scene ruling. So he covered the faces of the judges. If not, where and who is he? That's Job 9:24. If it's not the so-called white man, you tell me, who is it then? But we're going to show you the wicked, because the earth was given to the hands of the wicked. Going into 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, beginning with the first verse. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Show you who the wicked is, man. 2 Thessalonians 2:1. Now we beseech you, brethren, because Paul, this is the epistle of Paul to the Israelites in Thessalonica, which is Greece. Now we beseech you, brethren, the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, by the coming of our Lord, because he's not the Lord of all nations, he's the Savior of Israel, Jesus the Christ, who we know as Yahweh-Shai, Hamashiach, and by our gathering together into him. 2 Thessalonians 2:2. That ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by the Spirit, nor by the word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Perdition means destruction, because this so-called white man is on reserve for destruction, man. So 2 Thessalonians 2:3 said, let no man deceive you by any means. Why? Because this goddamn devil been going out deceiving many blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans with this Renaissance art, telling you that Jesus Christ and his disciples and all the rest of the prophets were pale-skinned white people with blonde hair and blue eyes. He has been deceiving you. He deceived you by giving blacks, Hispanics, Christianity, Catholicism, things in that area. For that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed. Second Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3. That man of sin being revealed. We know so-called white man. Now his ass is being shown up. The world ain't big enough for you to hide him, because we know this goddamn devil now. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is protesting against this wicked ass white man, white woman, and his children. The son of perdition, the son of destruction, because that's all the so-called white man does. Destroy every goddamn thing he gets his hand on. That's why John 10:10 tells you that what? The thief come not to what? But to kill, steal, and destroy, man. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4. Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God. Now who does that? The white man, or that is worship. So that is worship. So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he's God. Now who's sitting in these cathedrals? Who's sitting in these chapels? These goddamn churches on every corner. Who's sitting in these churches? That white ass image of Jesus Christ with blonde hair and blue eyes and red skin. The image of the beast. All right. That's what's sitting in these churches. So the so-called white man is the wicked man. And that's why we call him basically. That's why we call him the so-called white man. Because according to the scriptures, he's the red man. He's Edom in Hebrew, which means Adawam, red. Now let's continue on with Revelation 6 and 5. So we went over 2 horses so far concerning the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. We went over these 2 horsemen. Now we are basically on the black horse. So let's get identification of the rider on the black horse. This is Revelation 6 and 5. Revelation 6 and 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast, which is the third angel, say, Come and see. And beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. So now we are dealing with Revelation. That's my wifey texting me. But anyway, we're dealing with Revelation 6 and 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And beheld, and lo, a black horse. Now, what is this black horse? What is the black horse? Let's give you some clarity on Revelation 6 and 5 concerning the black horse. The black horse is simply the Israelite nation, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The people of Negroid and Indian descent, which are known as the lost 12 tribes of Israel. You are that black horse in Revelation 6:5. Why do I say you are that black horse? Because when we read on, we're going to show you some more footage to Revelation 6 and 5. So let's read Revelation 6 and 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of four beasts say. So a voice came from the midst of these four angels and said, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see that thou hurt not the oil in the wine. Now, that black horse being the nation of Israel simply signifies Israel going into slavery. So that black horse signifies black people, Hispanic people, and Native American people going into slavery by the heathen. Yeah, we went into slavery by the so-called white man that have brutalized and mistreated us the most. And also we went in slavery among the Chinese, Japanese, Africans, East Indians, Arabs, and any other heathenistic nation out there. When you read in the Bible, Israel stayed in slavery. Why? For the disobedience of breaking God's commandments. That's the black horse. That black horse is Israel that's suffering under the hands of oppression and slavery, man. Pursuing the Revelation 6 and 5, that black horse. He that sat on him had a pair of balances. So Revelation 6 and 5. He that sat on him had a pair of balances. Now we're going into the interlinear, and we're going to look at balances in the Greek to get more understanding of Revelation 6 and 5. Say he that sat on him, that black horse, had a pair of balances. Right? So let's balances, how you would say balances in the Greek is 22:18. Greek 22:18, which is zygos. Zygos, right? So we're going to go into 22:18. As you can see, lexicon for 22:18 is zygos at the top. Okay.
Strong's G 22:18, zugos. Zugos.
So zugos, zygos. But anyways, it speaks of on the behalf of the particular rider upon the black horse that sat upon him had a pair of balances. Balances in Greek is zygos. And what does it say? A yoke that is put on drought cattle, or metaphorically speaking, use of any burden or bondage. As you can see, it continues on and say, as that of slavery. See, as that of slavery. Metaphorically speaking, use of any burden or bondage. A yoke that is put on a particular person, man. And who was the yokes put on? That was Israel. So this rider upon the black horse is the nation of Israel that suffered oppression and slavery and still is. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that's suffering under the hands of this wicked ass white man that keep oppressing and raping and robbing us, man. And many other heathenistic nations that did the same thing to us. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, you are the black horse that's oppressed by the heathen. Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall do what? Put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Until he have destroyed thee. So the Most High tells blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans for being so defiant and being stiff-necked, breaking his commandments, breaking his laws, said that Deuteronomy 28:48, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against you. So the Lord Yahweh sent the white man on us. He sent, and many other ancient heathenistic nations such as the Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Grecians, Romans, up into the revived Roman Empire today, which is America. The Most High sent our enemies on us, okay, because we transgressed the laws, and it said that he shall send against your enemies on us. And hunger, we have to go to our oppressors for food. Thirst, we have to serve our oppressors for water. And nakedness, if we want any type of clothing, that comes from the oppressors. And the want of all things, hell, anything in life you want, it comes from the oppressor, right? So-called white man got the upper hand running every damn thing because the Most High set him up to run every damn thing. He's not running it on his own will. He says he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. That's what we want to focus on. A yoke of iron upon the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans' neck. That's when he put that iron collar on the so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native American man with those goddamn spikes, those iron collars that the white man placed on our necks to keep us from trying to escape slavery. Iron collar for preventing the escape of slaves. That's what the white man did. That's the yoke right there. Pursuant to Deuteronomy 28:48, he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. The white man did this to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So we that black horse that suffered slavery and oppression. Remember now, the iron collars is known as yokes, right? The iron collars is known as yokes. So Revelation 6 and 5 dealing with the black horse, that's Israel and slavery under the hands of the heathens. That's the black horse. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and slavery under the hands of the heathens. That's subdued by the heathens. Said that the black horse, said the rider that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. We showed you that balances in Greek goes to Greek 22:18, which was zygos. We showed you that already. Right? Showing you one more time. In the Greek 22:18. Right here, which is zygos. Zygos, and it says a yoke. A yoke that is put on draught cattle, or metaphorically speaking, used of any burden or bondage as that of slavery. And that's your Deuteronomy 28:48. He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. So that was zygos in the Greek for balances, pursuing Revelation 6 and 5. That the rider on the black horse had a pair of balances, which was yokes in his hand. And that symbolized blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans going into hard bondage and slavery. See? Now we're going back into the apocryphal books. The 14 books that was extrapolated from the King James 1611 edition by the Roman Catholic Protestants. We're going back into the apocryphal books, and we're going into the book of Baruch. Baruch was a Jew, all right, from the tribe of Judah. Actually, Baruch was the secretary of Jeremiah, all right. So we're going into the book of Baruch, chapter 4, on the behalf of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans suffering oppression and slavery. As far as the rider that sat upon the black horse that had what you would call balances, that goes back to the Greek zygos, which means yokes. We're going to show you for further information concerning slavery of the blacks and Hispanics. So this is Baruch chapter 4, verse 4. It says, O Israel, happy are we for things that are pleasing to God are made known to us. Baruch 4 and 5. Be a good cheer, my people. The memorial of Israel. So blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are Israel. Baruch 4 and 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved God to wrath, ye were delivered into the enemies. See? Baruch 4 and 7. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God. So Baruch 4 basically and 6 tells you that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but simply because you moved God to wrath, ye were delivered into the enemies. And how do you do that? You break the commandments, and God chose the heathen to trodden you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans underfoot.